What is going on, guys? It's Jack Gillis 1875 here, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Siobhan Hunter, who plays for Hibs Women. Thank you for joining me today, Siobhan.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So I've got a few questions for you today, nothing too taxing, just about your career and what it's like playing for Hibs, and a few questions about women's football. So I'll jump right into it. And first of all, you grew up as a Hibs supporter. What is it like playing for the clubs that you supported as a kid?
Yeah, I think as a kid, growing up as a Hibs fan, you always dream of playing for Hibs. But to actually go and do that, I think it's very special to me and my family. I think something I always honour every time I put on the strip. I always make sure I give my all, and yeah, it's just a great achievement for me and also my family. I love playing for Hibs.
Yeah. So something I'll add on to that is, who was your favourite Hibs player growing up?
There's quite a few. I think at my time as a kid, I grew up watching Scott Brown, Derek Riordan, Gary O'Connor. I think they three, were massive players in the game at the time, and obviously massive mentors now. And Scott Brown's still going to this day. But I think, yeah, they all had different attributes to the game. I think they both, all three of them, brought different kind of personalities to the game as well. They enjoyed playing for Hibs, and I think it was an honour as well for them. So, yeah, they three I grew up watching, and obviously still watching Scott Brown as well.
For me, it has to be Deke or John McGinn.
Yeah.
So my next question for you is, what has been your best moment in a Hibs shirt in terms of how it's made you feel on the pitch?
I think maybe just representing them at Champions League level. I think as a kid, that's always kind of a dream, but you never think it would actually come true. But to play for Hibs at Easter Road as well in Champions League, I think that's probably the best part of my career. I think being able to do that and then obviously score in one of the games is just so special, and something you'll never take for granted, and you'll always remember, because not every day everyone gets to play in Champions League. So that was really special to me and always will be.
It must be. You're joining some esteemed company with Hibs players that have played in Europe, the likes of Laurie Riley and Jimmy O'Rourke and everything like that. So my next question for you is, how did it feel scoring that goal against Slavia Prague under the lights at Easter Road on a European night?
Yeah, I think probably up there with one of the best feelings in the world. I think being able to even play at Easter Road is such a big thing for me. But to actually go on score a goal for Hibs at Easter Road was something I've always wanted to do. Not sometimes it felt so far away, but to be able to do that in the fashion that it was in a Champions League game, all my family and friends were there to watch and take it in. So I think it'll be surreal. I think I'll never ever actually know exactly how I feel about it, but it's such a good thing and something I always remember.
So it must have been good scoring against opposition like Slavia Prague. They're one, well, I wouldn't say a top team in Europe, but they're one of the sort of better sides in Europe. They got quite far the year before, so that must have been good to score against such high quality opposition as well.
Yeah, definitely. They're a top side. They've went far in the competition. They're doing really well in their league. So to actually score against a team like that it was probably out with our control. I think trying to score against a team like that was probably more difficult than you would think. But yeah, at that time I was playing really well. I was scoring goals quite frequently, and to then do it at such a high stage and against a high quality team, I think was one of the main reasons why I enjoyed it so much.
So you've played with quite a few players at Hibs. So this is sort of a two-parter. Who is your favourite teammate now? And if you could have any former player back at Hibs, who would it be?
I think right now, I'll go for either Leah Eddy or Amy Gallagher. I think they two. Just now, I think they're young. They're coming through. They're doing really well. They've continued to do well throughout this season. Obviously, last season as well. But no, I think they're two youngsters that maybe deserve more credit than that's given to them, and I think they're good players for Hibs that maybe you don't see enough of that. The two, but in training, the way they pass the ball, the shots that they have, the goals that they score, I think to be able to train with their players, they only make you better. So they two, and in the past, I played with Caroline Weir when I was 11 till about 14. So no, it was longer than that. Sorry, 11 till about 17, and then she moved on. But yeah, she's one of the best centre mids probably in the world right now. I think she's unbelievable at what she does, and just the way she is in the games. You see that obviously for Man City and Scotland, but she's just a huge role model for any young player at Hibs, and yeah, I would go for her to come back.
Brilliant. Yeah. So my next question is, you've completed another Highbury's dream, which is you bagged a hat-trick against them in maroon against Hearts in the 7-1 thrashing in the Scottish Cup. How did that feel, bagging a hat-trick against the Derby rivals?
Yeah, I mean, I never ever thought in my day I would be able to score a hat-trick for being a centre-half, but no, it's something I'm really proud of. I think not a lot of centre-halves do that nowadays, but I think that game, we had a bad start at the beginning of the game. We were pretty bad. We lost a goal. Could have lost a few more goals. So I think the game actually planned out a bit different than we thought. But no, to get the 3 goals was something that I'll always cherish. I think the perfect hat trick, and you don't really hear about it in Scotland, even women's football. To score against that, obviously the rivals, just made it that little bit sweeter. But yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what level it's at. A derby's a derby, and it is obviously a great feeling. If you kept the clean sheet, then we would have repeated the famous scoreline for 1973. But can't have it all. My next question for you is, do you hope Hibs can start playing European football again soon?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, that's an aim of ours, to go and play Champions League football. We've been there before. We know what the feel is like, and it's something that we really enjoyed, and we actually did considerably well without much experience. So to do that again, I think we need to be better than we are just now. I think it's a process. That's obviously an aim of ours. I think to be back there is where we want to be, but the club's maybe going through a transition part that we need to build as a team, obviously having a new manager and stuff, and the other teams in the league are going full time. So maybe when we start to progress that way, that'll be a massive goal of ours. And I think for a young squad that we are, it's always a dream to go back there and perform at the highest level. It's only going to make our team better. But yeah, something always in the back of our heads.
So something I wanted to ask you as well is, obviously you were in the side when we played Bayern Munich a few years ago, and Vivian Miedema was at Bayern Munich. What was it like coming up against a player of her standard?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think actually back then she was probably not at her peak. I think she's probably at her peak now. So I can't actually imagine what she's like now. But even back then, she was probably one of Bayern's best players, I would say, at the time. And to even just stand next to her on the pitch, I think was a massive moment, and it's something you just kind of take in. You don't really, the game itself, you were never ever expected to win. So to just enjoy the experience, play against world class players, and maybe learn a little bit off that player. I think watching that game back, it made me realise the differences within the teams, and you can learn a lot even if you're getting beat by a lot of goals. But no, she's someone that's really, really good in the women's game, and you can see it. She's performing every week, scoring every game pretty much. So yeah, you learn a lot, and I think as a team we kind of took that experience from that game into the league and the cup finals as well.
Absolutely. So that was good that you mentioned cup finals, because my next question is, you've seen your fair share of silverware with us, with Hibs, obviously. What was your favourite trophy win and why?
I think probably the first Scottish Cup. I think we never actually beat Glasgow City within 90 minutes, and I think to do that, that team at the time I probably would say was probably the best team I've played with at Hibs. Everything just managed to click. I think we were so close to the league at that point, so that was that disappointment. So to get the disappointment of not getting maybe the league, to then top it off to get the Scottish Cup, and I think for obviously Hibs fans as well, Scottish Cup's such a big cup within our club. So to do that at the same time, obviously the men done it, was such a special moment, and yeah, something that's probably one of the most favourite games that I've been involved with.
And obviously, we nearly won the cup at the last final at Tynecastle. I was there. How did that feel that we were in touching distance for the cup that season, but in the end, that Glasgow team, which admittedly was a very good Glasgow team, just pipped us to the post? That must have been quite a hard moment, but also a good.
It froze, I think. Sorry, that froze. Are you back now? Yeah.
So I'll repeat the question. Obviously, we got beat by Glasgow at the cup final at Tynecastle, which is the last one, obviously, before COVID and everything. How did that feel? Because admittedly, it was a very good Glasgow City team, but it must have been quite hard on the squad that we were in touching distance of the cup and doing a double that season, obviously, because we'd won the SWPL Cup. So how did that feel for you within touching distance of the cup, but couldn't manage it against what was quite a good Glasgow City team?
Yeah, I think obviously given the Glasgow City at the time, that team was probably one of their better sides. I think give them the credit, they really did perform on the day. I think we did as well. Again, it's a cup final. I think sometimes you lose 3 or 4-0, or you lose a last minute goal like we did. But yeah, I would say that I would probably rather get beat 4-0. It maybe would have been as hard to take, but I think to lose in the manner that we did, the last minute, pretty much the last kick of the ball, to an actual really good finish. But yeah, it's hard to take. I think probably does hurt now. To this day, I think it'll never ever sink in how hard that is to take. But no, I think the team that we had at the time, I think a lot of them have actually moved on. So there's only maybe a few of us left now that played in that team that's maybe not affecting as much. But no, I think to play that game, it was such a high value game. There was a lot of press watching it, a lot of fans. So it made it such a good game for obviously neutrals and fans to watch. But no, it's something that I actually enjoyed the game, but obviously you don't win them all, and I think Glasgow City maybe deserved it a little bit more than we did in the day. But yeah, it was a good game and obviously good for the Scottish League as well.
It was good because I like Wolfsburg. They're sort of my European women's team. And obviously they smashed Glasgow 9-1 in the Champions League. So I thought, it's good that the other green team got a bit of revenge for us in the Champions League. My next question is, you've gained a bit of a reputation as a hard player over the years. What would you say to that?
I think
quite like.
It's just something that I think maybe has gone through my family. I think we're quite a passionate family. We obviously love Hibs. We play for that badge every time we play it. So yeah, it just runs in my family. I think maybe over the years it's got better. Sometimes when I was younger, I kind of lost it a little bit more than I should have. But no, I think you need aggressive people in our league. I think it makes it a wee bit better to play against. They're not as easy to beat, and yeah, they might maybe get called that hard woman or whatever it is. But yeah, just the way I play, and I think it probably benefits me a little bit more if I play that way and play well, rather than maybe being too soft and it causes goals or whatever. So yeah, as a centre back, you kind of need to be a little bit tougher than other positions. But no, I like being that way, and I think it only helps me in the team.
Yeah, so you'd say you're a bit like Ryan Porteous or a younger Paul Hanlon then, in terms of that, because I know Ryan can sometimes be a bit rash in the tackle sometimes, but it's all part of learning as a young player.
Mm-hmm.
My next question is, do you think Hibs can challenge for silver this season? Obviously, it's been quite a tough season with COVID and we've had a few tough results, but do you think we can challenge maybe for the Cup if the Cup goes ahead, or in the future, do you think we can challenge for silverware in general?
Yeah, depending on this year, maybe. I'm not sure if it's going ahead or not, obviously due to COVID. So we need to obviously see what happens with that. But no, we're obviously always wanting to try and win silverware. If we don't get maybe the league, we're maybe a bit far off it this year. So if the clubs do go ahead and get the cup games, I think that's our main priority. One of them is still ours, so we want to retain that, and then obviously give it a go and try and get the other one back. But no, the teams are getting better within the league, and I think it's only making it a better competition for each team. It's not at the start of the year, it's maybe Hibs and City are going to win the cup. It's now there's other teams in there involved that are now up there trying to challenge. So it makes it better for us. It makes it a lot more enjoyable, and I think it's better games for us to play. And I think it's not an easy run. No, you're getting to the semi-finals without being challenged. So every game's now hard. So yeah, looking forward to it, and something that we're really, really desperate to get a hold of again.
So would you say you were glad, that obviously not glad, but would you say it's good to see that the likes of Rangers and Celtic have started investing in their squads and have become more competitive? Because obviously a few years back we'd be beating Rangers and Celtic 8 or 9-0 regularly, but now they've become competitive with us, and I know we've lost to both old firm teams this season, which is fans isn't good to see obviously, but for the development of the women's game in Scotland, it is good news that the big clubs, the two biggest clubs in Scotland, have sort of started investing in women's football properly now.
Yeah, for sure. I think Celtic and Rangers have maybe actually waited a bit longer than they should have. I think they maybe should have done it a long time ago, and it's good to see they're actually back in the women's side now, and to get that much money into the clubs is great for Celtic and Rangers. I think they're in a really good position right now. They're only going to get better with the backing of both teams, and I think for them to be better, that makes us then make ourselves better, makes Glasgow City better, and all the other teams as well. They're all chasing up. Spartans obviously aren't far behind as well. Forth are doing well. So yeah, there's loads of teams in there that are now making it hard for every game. You're not going into games knowing that you're going to win now. I think every game is quite open, and it makes you as a player and your team work harder during the week to get that win at the end, because it is so tight, and it makes it more exciting as well for fans if they're seeing different results. Just like at the Scottish men, I think if you look at that, there's so many different teams that are stealing points off each other, and it's only good for the game, and it's good for fans to watch games and actually enjoy it, rather than, oh, there's another 8-0 or that's another 2-0 easy. So yeah, it's really good for the game and also individuals within these squads.
Yeah, because obviously the game's still growing. Do you hope that more SPL sides like St Johnstone, for example, their women's team, do you hope they come into the SWPL in the future? And obviously big names in Scottish football like Falkirk or Dunfermline or Wraith Rovers, do you hope they get into women's football as well?
Yeah, I think if they've got the backing of the men's side, it's obviously huge. The supporters for the start, I think getting some of their fans into the women's game, offering tickets, maybe with your season ticket, if you buy, you can get the women's game. I think just advertising it a lot, making sure a lot of people are aware of the women's game, because I think still to this day there's not a lot of people that know we're maybe based at Aintree Park, or we're like fourth in the league at the moment. They maybe don't know that. So yeah, just making sure that they've got the backing of the teams, and if that happens, then it's only going to make the league better and women's football rise up again.
Yeah, because personally I think we've been quite good as a support base with backing you guys. Obviously we've got quite a lot at Tynecastle for the cup final and everything like that. And Hearts obviously played their last game in the SWPL 2 at Tynecastle when they won the league, because my PE teacher used to play for Hearts. So obviously there's that. But do you think clubs could be doing more to encourage their fans to watch their women's team? I know Rangers have been trying. I've seen Rangers have been doing campaigns, but could you say clubs like St Johnstone, who are obviously a bit lower down in women's football than now, and Livingston and Celtic could be doing more to encourage their fans to go and watch the women's game?
Yeah, there's obviously so much the clubs can do, but I think within the women's game, if they're constantly pushing on, making that club aware that there is stuff going on in the background, there is teams winning a lot of games, and just to get that back, and I think it's only going to help. But obviously, as well, you can't push it too much. They might then feel like they're pushing too much, and it'll cause a scene. But no, I think for those teams that are maybe lower down, they maybe need the more support to get them back up there. And if you get the same teams that are maybe in the men's league and to the women's league, it's obviously the same fixtures and whatever, that would that would be even better.
No, absolutely, because in Germany, in the Frauen Bundesliga, they do a lot to promote for their fans, and Bayern Munich, Wolfsburg are regularly getting 800-900 people at a game, which is really good, I think. And those are numbers that hopefully we can start seeing in Scotland. And I know in England, they've started getting big numbers. Obviously, Man City, Man United, whilst fans aren't allowed in, they've started playing at Old Trafford, the Man United's women's team.
Yeah.
But I'll move on to my last question, which is, do you think this is a two-part, so do you think women's football internationally has grown? Because obviously we've been around women's football for quite a wee while. Do you think women's football has grown internationally, and what female players do you look up to right now?
Yeah, it's obviously massively improved, I think, from when I was at a young age. You knew of the players, but I think now the players within the Scotland squad, they're all playing full time. They're either down south, they're away abroad. So they're constantly in a full-time environment, whereas before it was kind of drips and drags. There was more 3 players playing here, 3 players playing there, and then the rest were in Scotland playing part-time. So for every player to be full-time now, I think it's only going to increase the standard of football within the international. And then the players that you've got the stature of Caroline Weir, Erin Cuthbert, players like that are doing really well club-wise and then performing at the big stage internationally as well. So yeah, it's only going to improve the whole women's game, and I think if Scotland are doing well internationally, it's only going to increase the standard as well of the league in Scotland. But no, I think for the World Cup as well, that made a huge difference to Scotland as a whole, and it really improved the numbers. I know that there's a lot more young girls getting into football now, whereas maybe it was before it was a bit mixed. But there's so many resources now that before there was only so many girls team, but now it's constantly there's a girls side on pretty much every club, which is really good, and it gives the girls a chance to then go perform at that stage and then move on in their careers. The other one, someone I look up to, I think again Caroline Weir. I think she started off at Hibs. She was the same as anyone else. She was just trying to live a dream, and she went from a young age to Bristol, and then obviously moved on to Liverpool, and then back to obviously Man City. But no, I think she's just someone that you obviously look up to, and I think the amount of work that she's put in over the years to get to where she is now, I think it's thoroughly deserved for her to be at the top stage, and she keeps performing week in, week out at that very top level, and it's only down to herself. She's worked hard for it, and she really does deserve it. So it's really good to see, and someone I always will watch. And other players like Claire Emsley, Lucy Graham, Kirsty Smith, they're all at Hibs as well. So to start your career off there is maybe a good point, and then to obviously go on in the WSL in England, it's huge right now, and they're all performing at that high level week in, week out. So it's really good.
Absolutely, because the Women's Super League in England's growing massively. I mean, because Chelsea just beat Wolfsburg 3-0 last night, which is amazing because Wolfsburg are a top team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know women's football definitely has grown. It's good to see. Obviously, I watch it in Germany, and it's growing there massively. I'm a big fan of the Frauen Bundesliga as well. So yeah, I've watched it there. I've been watching Wolfsburg and Turbine Potsdam and watching them grow. But anyway, guys, that's us for today. Thank you so much to Siobhan for joining mates and putting up with me and answering my questions. So, thanks.
No problem.
Thanks for all that. And thank you to the Women's Club at Hibs themselves for helping me set this up. Matthew, who's the media guy over there, has been great. Helped me set it up. Thank you to the Hibernian Women's Supporters Club who support me and have encouraged me to do this. I would have never thought I could do this sort of stuff last year. And I'll give a quick shout out to the Strong Opinions Hibs podcast who had me on yesterday. I had a great chat with the lads. The episode should be out tonight. So keep your eyes peeled for that, where we talk about Hibs, Scotland, Kevin Nisbet, and much more. So hope you guys enjoy that. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe for unique football content, and I'll see you all in a while. Jack out.